The slaves of Mary came out in the rain today in Zaragoza. They have done it without the passage of the Virgin. It has also been necessary the umbrellas in Tudela to see the Volaten turn on. And in Andalusia, they are also with one eye on the sky, although it seems that the rain, for the moment, is respecting Holy Saturday.
In the case of Seville, for example, it is planned that 5 brotherhoods will be professional today, and the first one, the Del Sol, is already on the street. Alejandro Muaz.
Yes, the Brotherhood of the Sun has been the first to put its guiding cross on the streets of Seville on this Holy Saturday. A young brotherhood, in fact, is the youngest brotherhood of those who procession, of those who perform their station of penance in the cathedral. 140 Nazarenes accompany the images of the male Christ of Sorrows and the Virgin of the Sun on their journey from their penitential station to the Seville Cathedral on a Holy Saturday day when 4 other brotherhoods are going out in procession through the streets of Seville. This church already keeps until next year, God willing, the passage of the Solitude of the Virgin, which this Saturday has not been able to procession in Zaragoza because of the rain, but instead, the slaves of the congregation that always accompanies this step have also left here and getting wet to the Church of Santa Isabel de Portugal, where this morning the Christ of the bed has been deposited, and before him, as is his custom, this congregation, composed only of women, and characterized by the ringing of their bells, prayed, and left a bouquet of red roses.
The ceremony of the burning of the Volaten is one of the most iconic acts of Holy Week in Navarre. Thousands of people have crowded the Plaza de los Fueros de Tudela, despite the rain, to attend this centenary tradition. The protagonist, a wooden and rag doll that represents the death of Judas, seeks to make the bad, the tragedy forget. And every year is customized with a different outfit. On this occasion, a flag of the Valencian community, in tribute to the victims of the Dana. After the firecracker that he has placed in his mouth explodes, the flywheel is tossed around again and again, until his suit ends up falling to the ground. This event was declared a festival of national tourist interest in the year 2002.
This morning, thousands of faithful have taken to the streets all over Spain to accompany the steps of Good Friday. In Malaga, it is one of the most solemn days of the whole Holy Week. After midnight, the Roman amphitheater in Merida has been illuminated with the Way of the Cross, and in Mallorca, the people of Felinic have recreated the Passion. This is the 50th edition. A very emotional moment also this Holy Saturday in Jaén. Their solitude has met with the passage of San Juan Evangelista, and in Almagro, Ciudad Real.
I have a grandson who is playing the soul trumpet, and I have to see him.
The procession of Mary Magdalene has traveled the streets in the company of the brothers.
I was born, I grew up, and I'm still 80 years old here.
In Seville, the step of the Brotherhood of the Sun already brings together thousands of people.
I am a Roman Catholic, and I am devoted to all.
In Tudela, Navarra, the Volaten has been burned, in memory of the victims of the Dana. Everyone here with an umbrella, because today, the processions are again at the expense of rain and cold.
We are lying here so that the sun will give us, because it is very cold.
It has been suspended in Santander, and in Zaragoza, the slaves of Mary have left without the step. We have done our best, until we get to the Christ of the bed. We were all carrying her in our hearts, even though Our Lady was unable to leave due to inclement weather. At the moment it seems that the faithful will have to keep watching for heaven, at least until tomorrow. This Spanish company has been dedicated to cybersecurity for more than 20 years, and its co-founder warns, "We are facing a decisive moment."
We had never met at a time like the current one. The war on the kinetic front may be in the Donbass, or it may be in Gaza, but we have the cyber front over our heads.
The wars of the 21st century are and will be largely digital.
When you want to bring down a country, one of the main things you want to bring down is its critical infrastructures, and this can be done using cyber attacks.
And in this new battlefield, cyber defense, they say, will be key to ensuring the success of a mission. It is essential, for example, to encrypt communications at the highest level, so that all information transmitted in the field is never intercepted by the enemy.
Between the barracks and the aircraft, between the aircraft each other, between the frigates.
At the moment, Spain is well positioned, they point out from the sector, although they point out that there are lack of resources.
I would say it's okay, We are few, and we have little budget, but from a talent point of view, we have an exceptional talent.
And the leading companies in this field agree. Tap move tab.
We depend in terms of cybersecurity and cyber defense very potentially on the United States and Israel. It is essential that Europe and Spain invest in their own technology. The European Union should be technologically independent in that regard.
Because attacks of this type have been occurring for years, and the forecast is that they will increase. Relying on an 18th century law of war, Trump is thus expelling dozens of migrants from the United States without guarantees or judicial process. About 300 have ended up in this controversial prison in El Salvador, thanks to an agreement with the government of Buccal, accused of violating the human rights of the inmates. The Supreme Court of the United States questions the legality of these deportations and has just blocked the expulsion of 30 other Venezuelans accused of belonging to the criminal organization Tren de Aragua, until justice pronounces and clarifies whether or not they have committed crimes. All after the mistake made with Quilmer Abrego, deported to Salvador despite a 2019 court order forbidding sending him back to his native country for possible persecution by local gangs. Abrego doesn't even have a criminal record. He is traumatized, said Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen after returning from El Salvador. She is the first person who has been able to see him after weeks in isolation. The Salvadoran authorities prevented Van Hollen from entering the prison, but by surprise they took the prisoner to his hotel before the senator flew back to the United States. The Democrat considers it scandalous that neither the government of Buccal nor that of Trump lift a finger to free this citizen, despite the error and the absence of evidence against him. The year is 2015, Obama's last months in the White House, and he achieves his great diplomatic achievement. The pact with Iran limits on its nuclear program in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. The Trump of 2018 claimed that it was the worst deal in history. He broke it unilaterally, reinstated sanctions, and imposed a heavy hand against the Iranian regime, which responded by enriching more uranium. But the Trump of 2025 looks like another. He demands an agreement from which he could draw his chest in the midst of the tariff maelstrom and the attempts to end the war in Ukraine have unsuccessful moments. Something similar has happened on the other side. In less than a month, the Supreme Leader has gone from saying that an agreement with the United States would be dishonorable to being open to receiving American investments. Experts agree. There is economic pressure, stresses this former Iranian diplomat. The real, its currency, does not stop falling, explains this researcher from the University of Oxford. In other words, prices and unemployment are rising. Economic discontent is compounded by a lack of freedoms, an internal pressure cooker. Many Iranians want the end of the regime, and the regime's allies are also weakened. Never Hezbollah, the Houthis, or the late Bashar al-Assad. In this context, Trump puts pressure, threatens to bomb Iran if there is no pact. What once took years to negotiate, he wants now. The Chinese government has said that Trump's tariff escalation with this country will go down in the history of the world economy as a joke, and so it seems that many Chinese have taken it as a joke, which has already trended on social networks. Let the king of tariffs enter. This is how Donald Trump is referred to in numerous memes posted on Zhao Hongsu, the Chinese Instagram. I impose tariffs of 5,000% joke in this rap to the peasants as Vans called the Chinese friends, enemies, and penguins. They scoff that Trump imposed tariffs on an Australian island inhabited by penguins. For working, I impose tariffs. For lowering taxes. For double-clicking, tariffs on Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. They are parodying a chapter of Garfield in which the viceroy imposed on the peasants. Taxes for breathing in, for breathing out, for holding your breath, or for not breathing. Even Chinese public television is joking. In a chat group, the United States announced tariffs on its allies when they complained. The Australian penguins are kicked out of the group, and Ukraine is silenced. And they recreate the expected call between China and the United States, with the animals that symbolize them. The eagle declares war, and the panda bear promises to fight to the end.